Good, happy Wednesday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, race remains too close to call in 1st District. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Skip your oil change. Oil. It's the lifeblood of your car. You don't want to mess around.
Get the works. A synthetic blend oil change, tire rotation, brake inspection, and more for $39.95.
When your Ford needs service, you need the specialists at Ford.
And now over to the 1st Congressional District.
It is a very tight race between Frank Ginta and Rich Ashew. The two have been within a few points of one another all night long. WMUR Shelley Walcott live in Manchester, where Ginta's supporters are anxiously awaiting. Shelley?
That's right, Tom, Jen. I'm actually standing here with Congressman Frank Ginta. This has been a barn burner of a race all evening long. And I'll go straight to you, Congressman. Why do you think that this race has been so tight?
Well, you have good candidates, and it's been a very spirited campaign. So, we work very hard to talk to the people that we represent and the voters of the 1st Congressional District. We're a grassroots organization, and we feel very strongly about where we are today, and we'll continue to count the numbers through the evening. It's been a wonderful campaign. I appreciate all the support and help from our friends and volunteers and people all throughout the district. And we hope to have good news in the next couple hours.
Now, I spoke to you earlier this afternoon, and you were a lot happier, a lot more optimistic. Do you think that the controversy regarding campaign finance has dogged you to the point where it affected the outcome of this race tonight?
I'm sure it's on some people's minds, but the reality is that's a resolved issue more than a year and a half ago. People want me to focus on public policy issues, which is what I focused on, and I think that's why we've had such a strong showing tonight.
Now, I know that you say that you've done great work in Congress regarding bipartisan legislation about the drug issue here in New Hampshire, but I think that people are also looking at the issue of integrity. Do you think that that's something that's come up, that's in people's minds? How do you rectify your image in people's minds?
Sure, people know me. They know the dedication that I have and the passion and conviction I take to public service. And I think people see that in the public policy initiatives that I undertake and the leadership that I've demonstrated, particularly as chairman of the Congressional Task Force to combat heroin and opioid use, and people appreciate that kind of leadership. So we hope to take that into the next 7 weeks and the next 2 years.
What happens if you lose tonight?
Well, we're not looking at it that way. We expect to do very, very well tonight, and we hope to go on to the next 7 weeks and the next 2 years.
Okay, and will you concede quickly, I guess, if the numbers turn out to not be in your favor?
Well, right now we're just taking a look at the numbers. We feel very good about where we are, and we'll know in the next couple hours.
Okay, Congressman Frank Ginta, I guess we'll just be standing by to see how this all turns out. There you have it, guys. Congressman Frank Ginta not prepared to make any final decision until all the numbers come into this race. It could be a late night here in Manchester. Sending it back to you.
Well, this is a true nail-biter. I'm Jen Crompton here at Fratello's Restaurant in Manchester, which has been home to the Ashew headquarters all night long. These folks are not calling it quits either yet, nor is the candidate. He made an appearance at about 10:45. Rich Ashew, the father of 5 from Bedford, holding out hope that these numbers go his way. He wanted to make sure, though, he had a chance to speak to his supporters. He said, "You say Ashew, I say bless you," talking about all of the ways he feels blessed. He wanted a chance to talk to supporters, to thank them no matter what the resolution, and here's some of what he had to say.
You have given, I would say me, but really us, the gift of your support and your friendship. And I wish I could give you the gift of clarity. But I can't. There are still 2 cities and more than 10 towns out. It's too close to call.
Well, the campaign headquarters is breaking down, but the support and the hope has not. These folks know it will be a very late night and well into the morning before they know the outcome, of course, hoping that it goes their way. For now, reporting live in Manchester, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that report. GOP candidates in governor locked in tight race. The Republican candidates for governor were locked in a tight race Tuesday night, while Executive Counsel Colin Van Ostern won the nomination on the Democratic side. With 90% of the participants reporting, Executive Chris Sununu took a narrow lead over businessman Frank Edelblut, 31 to 30%. Sununu spoke to his supporters as the night wore on. He told them he was optimistic at the way the numbers were going. Manchester Mayor Ted Gaston was in third with 21% of the vote. He concealed the race shortly before 10 p.m. State Senator Jeannie Forster had 18% and concealed the race at 8:45 p.m. Lawrence defeats Flanagan in 2nd District. The Associated Press declared former state rep Jim Lawrence the winner of the Republican nomination in the 2nd Congressional District, with 68% of participants reporting. Lawrence led State Rep Jack Flanagan 41 to 28. Lawrence will take on U.S. Rep Annie Custer in the general election. Trump, a national disgrace, Colin Powell wrote in hacked emails. Newly revealed emails hacked from a private account of former Republican Secretary of State Colin Powell show the retired four-star general repeatedly blasting Donald Trump, describing him as a national disgrace who emerged in a racist movement. Traders watching to see if that's the air beginning to leak from bond bubble. With bond yields snapping back to June highs, traders are beginning to take notice and worry the markets are at a turning point where those rising yields could pressure stocks. North Korea rips U.S. bomber flyover as bluff. Let's take a listen to this video from CNN.
I don't think they know that. I do.
The show of force on Tuesday was the United States saying to North Korea, if you threaten one of us, you threaten both of us, trying to show that the alliance between the United States and South Korea is still very strong. Now, earlier Tuesday, we did see two B-1 bombers flying over South Korea. They were flanked by US and South Korean fighter jets to show that the military alliance is strong. And we heard from General Vincent Brooks. He's the commander of US forces in Korea, and he said, North Korea's nuclear test is a dangerous escalation and poses an unacceptable threat. Now, this is not the first time the US has done this. We saw back in January, after the fourth nuclear test, they flew a B-52 bomber over the peninsula. Then in February, when North Korea carried out a satellite launch, which much of the world assumed was an intercontinental ballistic missile test, they then flew F-22s over the peninsula. A similar situation back in 2013 when tensions were very high. Up until this point, though, these kind of flyovers have not swayed North Korea in any way. There has been some political movement, though. We saw this Tuesday that Sung Kim, the top U.S. nuclear envoy, was here in Seoul meeting his South Korean counterpart. He's just come from Tokyo. He's spoken to his counterpart in China and in Russia. So he's really trying to garner support, not only for further sanctions against North Korea, but also for closing some loopholes of existing sanctions.
We are, of course, working very closely with the United Nations Security Council, our six-party partners, and the broader international community to ensure full implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 2270 and other existing resolutions, and to take additional significant steps, including new sanctions, to demonstrate to North Korea that there are indeed serious consequences for its unlawful and dangerous actions.
Sung Kim says that more than 80 countries around the world have so far condemned the nuclear test, but Pyongyang at this point does not seem too concerned. On Sunday, they called this effort to look at new sanctions laughable. Paula Hancock's CNN Seoul.
Okay, and there you go on that report. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a fantastic Wednesday. See you back here later on today. Goodbye, everyone.